All around Wisconsin, schools, businesses, and communities are working together to create new ways of teaching science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Together, they're creating the blueprint for tomorrow's education. It's been said that knowledge is power, but when it comes to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, some have suggested that the United States is falling behind globally. In Wisconsin and across the nation, a movement is afoot to counter this trend. In the next half hour, we'll show you 4 programs in southeastern Wisconsin that are preparing students for the future. The students you'll see are not only learning core academic subjects, but are acquiring life skills that will prepare them for the 21st century workplace. We begin with the Fluid Power Challenge, a competition for 8th grade students that poses a problem and gives them a few weeks to engineer a solution using fluid power technology.
The National Fluid Power Competition was founded 3 years ago, as I mentioned, and its basic sole funding comes from industry. Industry has realized that there's a need to have students with problem-solving skills, having students that can think on their own, having students make difficult decisions.
What we're going to do this morning is we're going to build this pneumatic lifter here, just so that you get an idea of the materials of construction. Show a little bit about how to make some measurements, how to make a structure, how to work with gussets, because these are the same materials and same principles that you will use when you build your device for the challenge day.
Kids are going to spend today in what we call the workshop day, where they're going to get familiar with the resources that they're going to have available to them during the competition day.
These are the 4-inch sides and these are the 8-inch sides.
Yeah, okay, so we need these 4-inch and those 8-inch.
Square.
So right now we're doing some direct instruction where the kids are going to go ahead and build a simple lifting device. By building that lifting device, they're going to learn the different ways of putting things together, different construction methods. They will also learn force and displacement theories behind fluid power.
When they told us to do both, or to do the pneumatic lifter, well, we just said we should do 2 because then we can figure out the difference between them, like the water, if it goes faster or slower in the air, how fast it'll be pumping and how many times it'll be pumping.
We first started talking about what we had to do. We came up with different ideas of why we should, like different ways we can do it, and we ended up doing 2 of the same thing.
Well, we just picked what we were good at, and so Holly was good at gluing and spreading the glue on, so she did that. And then Tommy measured and Josh measured and Tommy cut, and I just made sure everything was equal.
When it comes to the actual competition day, they're going to be forced to look at a scenario and look at a box of parts that has no directions. The kids need to go ahead and problem solve how to get to the end of the competition, which is basically to move some canisters from one platform to the next, and there's no directions on how to get there.
Problem solving, the communication, working in a group, they're utilizing skills that they're going to need lifelong. And a number of them are students that we have identified as probably going into engineering, but I would say 80% of them are not.
There's a lot more cooperative learning. They're not arguing once, which is different than the cooperative learning we do in the classroom. Usually there's a lot of side talk about their weekends and conflicts, and this is all focused. They were just 100% focused on their task.
Kids will have to use what they learned today on how to turn a linear motion into a rotary motion, how to go ahead and have different construction methods of fastening different types of materials. They'll be using wood, plastics, paper, things like that. And what's nice about it is that no one design in here will be the same. They will all be different. They might have some of the same characteristics because they'll all be using fluid power, but they'll all be completely unique.
We had 2 different groups. We had Group A and Group B. And Group A decided to work together and just complete 1 pneumatic lifter. And it was interesting the way they did. Everybody was busy working the whole time. There was not a moment where one person was just standing back and watching everybody else work. Group B decided that they wanted to do both of the pneumatic lifters. So they broke up in pairs, and it was like a competition, girls against the boys. And it was really interesting because they would look at each other and see who's ahead and who's behind, and they're still working on it, it's still competition.
And the way that they get to the end is the design process that they're going to go through when they go back to their school. which is super. These kids will be partnered up with the same groups they're in today, and also with the aid of a teacher and possibly some industry people that come in and work with those kids on solving the problem, which they don't even know about yet. The teachers don't know yet. They'll find that out right at the end of the day, which will be great. So they'll have basically 4 weeks to solve that problem, and then come back here and go ahead and design their contraption again. We don't let them prefabricate and bring it in. We make sure that while they're here, they go ahead and build it. So it really shows the importance of documentation and shows the importance of really thinking through the whole process and not just building something random and then coming back and making directions on how to build it. They need to be real methodical in what they do.
I'm amazed at what they're able to pick up and learn, and in addition to teaching something technical, let's say the hydraulics and pneumatics part, you're also teaching how to work together with other people, how to divide the labor up, who's going to do what, and how are we going to get it done on time, and a little team building. I mean, really some basic skills that anybody needs entering the workforce.
If you look around, most of these kids are probably in the same classes together, but they might not even be friends. They might just be classmates. And putting them in an environment like this allows them to work together in a way they haven't worked before. It's very student-directed. You won't see any teachers actually physically touching into the materials. It's all student-led, so students will take on different roles. You need to have leaders, but you also need to have followers. Everybody needs to understand what they're doing, and they all play a real important role in getting to the end, which is great.
We'll be back with the exciting Challenge Day at the end of the show. But first, we head to Bayview High School to check out the Building, Architecture, and Technology Leadership Academy, where students are putting the final touches on a house they built from the ground up.
No, don't put a line on that wall.
This side, just on this side?
Just on that.
And you only put one screw through the middle of the thing, right?
They come here and they actually do it in action. So this house is taking, I believe, about 2 years to build. Some take less, some takes more. It depends how many things they have to do over and over again. But they get on-the-job training.
What you're seeing here is you're seeing a traditional construction education program, but you're seeing that program infused with very rigorous academics. We had teachers from the academic subjects and from our shop subjects, from our tech ed subjects, meeting all summer long, taking the competencies in math and science and even English and literacy and infusing those into the hands-on work that the kids do in construction education.
On this side of the wall, this wall is leaning out. So there's a bucket in the truck with shim shingles. When you set this cabinet, you have to stick a shim shingle on the top in order to get this plumb.
The kids will take, in the Career and Tech Ed focus, they'll take a construction course each year, and then we're going to have them take the design side as well. We've been hearing from business that the kids should not only learn construction, but also the design side. So we have an Introduction to Engineering Design course that we'd like them to take. We also have a Principles of Engineering course that they'll be able to take in a couple of years when they're juniors or seniors.
Some of these students could be in a geometry class this year or an English class where they're actually trying out some integrated curriculum with the students. And it is curriculum that everybody in the building can actually participate in, but it's geared more to the construction fields.
Engineering class, that's like what I'm going to college for, engineering, so it's kind of helping me out with that. And we can take a test to get a college credit.
On Thursdays, we have mandatory tutoring. To stay in the construction program, you have to work on your homework, or we take testing for 4 hours. And then on the other days, we come on site and we'll work here for 3.5 hours. Then we have to take the bus back to school, and then you get back to your normal core classes.
No, we do different things. We just started putting these cabinets today. Upstairs, we did flooring, and each person go to a different room, and different teams and stuff. Whatever y'all want to do, we can do. Outside, we did cement, digging, and a lot of stuff.
We have some kids that go to school for architecture that's related to this. I keep relating to the kids. I says, when I was working as a union carpenter, I says I had architects that would draw stuff and they would tell the people to build it. You couldn't build what they drew. So the kids now, if they have the experience out here and if they become architects, they know what it kind of takes to build something.
It's better to work as a team than it is by yourself, because it's hard trying to work by yourself.
They have to learn how to work with others. There's a lot of jobs you're just working by yourself. Here you got to learn how to work with others.
Any time that you can get kids out in the community working, it's really important, because this is how you build leadership. Leadership comes in many different formats, so you don't have to be on student government to be a leader. You can be a leader in your specialty area.
We're trying to build this into something more than just the construction program, adding a work-related piece to it, and adding the community involvement piece, which is probably the biggest piece.
By our industry, I'm not simply talking about in terms of the field or as tradesmen, although that is certainly a major part of it. But the BAT Academy is really set up to allow any individual, depending upon their ambition and their intellectual acumen, to go wherever they want. Thus, we have individuals representing not only the apprenticeship programs, but also MATC and Marquette University. We as an association have relationships with all of the universities, not only in Milwaukee, but also UW Wisconsin.
We couldn't get where we were without working with Associated General Contractors and without working with Marquette University and Milwaukee Area Technical College and our other partners. This is important for us for several reasons. One is the scope of opportunities that it provides for kids. We know that construction has always been one of the strong industries in our state and something that provides a tremendous amount of opportunity. Milwaukee Public Schools has about 80% of our kids qualifying for free or reduced lunch. We're a very poor school district. In particular, I'm really looking for industries for our kids to be able to get into that will help get them out of poverty. And the construction and building and architecture industries represent high-skilled, high-paying occupations that we know as our economy starts to rebuild itself will again be a very strong part of Wisconsin's economy.
In Burlington, chemistry students are working on a unique project. Working under the banner of BHS Chemicals, these Burlington High School students are producing a line of cleaning and personal care products which are used not only by the school, but the people in the community.
I like that it's like hands-on chemistry instead of just doing formulas.
0.6. So your gallon's 0.8, you guys got 0.6? Not bad. That's not a bad range.
In this class, it really helps you to build people skills, and you have to call companies and order different products, and you have to learn to work with people.
You know what happens?
I mean, you just get to see how like the chemicals bond to each other, you know, because we just started off with a liquid and solids, and then this formed a gel. It's just cool to see how that comes together.
Back in 2001, a man named David Kreutz started BHS Chemicals. Went to the board and said he wanted to show the students a hands-on, more real-life way of using chemicals, producing chemicals, testing chemicals, marketing, selling them to the public and to our district. They ran with the first product called Shine, which is just a window cleaner. It is basically a hard surface cleaner that we use mainly on windows, and they tested the product. They compared it to other window cleaners out there, and our custodial staff and anyone who used it claimed it worked as good or better than anything out there.
One of the most amazing things about this program is the fact that students are doing real work. They're not ornamental, they are instrumental. They are discovering, they are researching.
Right now, we're making a 5% solution so that it's diluted, so that we can see how acidic or basic it is.
We ship from Japan. It would cost us a lot to get the products to over here. So what we need to do is look up local companies that sell the product, research how much it costs. Then we also need to find out how much of the product in which we used it, so that once we get that base price, we see how much per gram it costs, get that total price, and that's also how we determine the product costs that we get.
It's not just like a chemical class where you learn, but you learn how to sell and then make revenue and profit on something that you make and then sell it.
30. Well, how many of the little guys fit here? 40? How many do we sell the little ones for?
I love seeing who's aggressive and who's not aggressive. What's that?
How many do we sell the Tata bottles for?
$2.
That's a good $80.
I know.
And we sell it for what? 25?
We haven't established the price.
I say at least 30.
The cost is about $24.
Think of how many breakfasts we could buy with that.
I know. They have all the foam soap that they're making and testing. We have Shine, this Lemmy All Clean, which cleans the floors. We have lips or chapstick, hand lotion. Yeah.
Pretty much anything.
Get into this class, the prerequisites are to get an A or a B in chemistry, general chemistry, and also to get an A or B in calculus.
I think the hardest part of the math is figuring out going from like 100 or a 400 gram solution, because you're only using small percents of numbers, and then we have to make a 5,000 gram batch or a gallon. So it has a lot to do with numbers, really.
I believe if kids want to get in good, successful jobs, this is a good way to go.
I hope to become an elementary school teacher.
I tried to get into genetics, like seed genetics or animal genetics.
Yeah, I want to go into business as well, and like for this class, having it be an actual company, like it kind of gets you started, and like so you feel comfortable with what you're doing.
Everyone from our superintendent, Ron Jandura, to our principal, Dr. Kopek Hill, our building and grounds man, Gary Olson, is here. They're all behind us, and without them being behind us, this wouldn't go.
I think that it's important for a project like this to be successful, that you need, as Tim said, a school board and a superintendent with a vision beyond today.
It'd be very helpful for businesses to be behind something like this. Without our strong community support and businesses that do help us sell stuff, we couldn't make this run. So I would, encourage other school districts, if they want to run something like this, to get a couple community supporters. Definitely got to get the school board behind them and the superintendent.
I think it's a tremendous opportunity for a business to get involved and still reap the benefits. I mean, you're not just giving to the school, you're getting a good product. And if you're getting a good product, you're not losing a thing. Again, I go back to the term, it's a win-win for all involved.
I think basically what we're saying is to have school boards have the courage to invite creativity and to have diverse perspectives at the table, to think about and imagine what education can be like.
Students at Bradley Tech High School in Milwaukee have been building things for years, but their newest project, a green garage in the River West neighborhood of Milwaukee, is a collaboration between numerous partners which will result in a community garden.
All I did was I showed Will the design and just the real sketches, and explained a little bit about it. And he said, "We have to partner with you on this. I mean, this is an amazing idea." And I was like, whoa, I wasn't looking for that or anything. But he said, no, this is really, the city needs this. They need to see something with this kind of forward thinking.
And I started talking to her and I said, well, if you want to do a green garage, it would be cool to, on the top of the garage, grow some food. And put a greenhouse on it and grow some food, and you'll be able to feed yourself and have lots of food to pass on to your neighbors and so forth.
Will actually introduced me to Willie Sinclair, who's the chairman of the Construction Academy at Bradley Tech. And Mr. Sinclair took a little bit of convincing because he had some pretty serious concerns about safety and cost and all that.
One of the keys that we wanted was year-round growing. So we included hydronic heating, which is sort of just like in-floor heating in your house, except the slab of the garage is actually heated, so the air underneath the dirt will be warm. And then there'll actually be heating coils going underneath the dirt itself to keep it warm, in addition to regular composting and a greenhouse effect. That heat will oftentimes in a home is provided by a boiler, but we'll actually be using solar panels, which preheat an alcohol-based solution, which will run through the pipes.
The Helen Bader Foundation provided the seed funding to get this all started. They gave us $30,000 to help train, or to provide funding to train the students when they aren't in school. So as you can imagine, I mean, this is pretty technically advanced. It's also some construction procedures that haven't really been done a lot in Milwaukee, so we needed to have professionals come in and help train the students on it.
Before this, because this is already like our second term, for this term we were mostly working in our books instead of coming here. And then after we got finished with some book work, we started coming here and having book work and doing this.
You can't learn this in the classroom. That's the best part about it.
Technically, it's not supposed to be math class, but he adds math into it. So we can build. Sinclair's the type of guy to build your strength. He want to build it both ways. He don't just want to be on one basis and then not have the other basis. So he wants you to, help us build both ways.
So I met with Will. He said, these kids need jobs during the school year. These kids are from poor families. I said, why don't we try to get my web to fund the kids, not only in the summertime, but in the wintertime too, to have jobs. And part of that, they would come here because obviously they can't work on the building piece. And then we'd teach them about food systems, how to grow food and how to grow soil and all the stuff that we do. So that's how it started. And we had those kids that are going to be building a building, working here during the summer.
The Lowe's Foundation expressed an interest in providing funding for the materials themselves. So all the materials you see here, the actual bricks and mortar, this is all funding provided by the Lowe's Foundation.
This one is, we're going to design something and then go out into the field, put it into use, that's going to become part of someone's permanent property, and then after that it's actually going to be used for ongoing training in a different field, not construction but agriculture. That's something that I think is very different from your traditional understanding of shop, where it's nice to know, may not have an immediate practical application.
The ultimate outcome will benefit the community of the city of Milwaukee. And that, I mean, it's win-win all the way around. We'll learn how to grow food, we'll learn how to build something to grow food on, and we're creating a future for our young people.
Bradley Tech has been doing hands-on programs like this for their seniors for years, but for them to get an opportunity to build something from the ground up like this doesn't happen. This is really a huge opportunity for them, and if this kind of program can be replicated, I mean, it will be a huge opportunity for the students. I mean, they've been talking about, you know what, in 5, 10, 15 years, I'm going to be able to drive down this alley and point at that garage and say, I helped build that. And that's going to be really neat to see people coming up and down, harvesting tomatoes and basil and whatnot, and they're going to be able to say, I had a part in that.
It's a very hands-on, you're out in the community, working with the community, getting to know the people in the community, because people are going to come around and ask them questions so they get engaged. It's a very powerful way to educate a student.
I have seen in the little bit I've interacted with the kids and watched them work that communication is critical. Understanding the message, talking to your partners about what you need to do, safety. I always watch them paired up, and I think that's, again, a key of, I think if you're going to succeed in this world, you can't do it on your own. So you're going to have to learn how to communicate with others to achieve your goals.
This is a very exciting project for me, because it includes partnerships, and it includes working with youth, it includes working with the unions. It's just a whole bunch of people. The school board had to get involved and okay it. So I like those challenging kind of projects where you have to get all these people together and get everything signed up, get them all on board.
We really want this to become a replicable model so that other schools, other technical schools, even here in Milwaukee, but also around the country, can see this kind of merging between urban agriculture and green construction, because that really is the way of the future. I think that's Will Allen's vision. It's also Mr. Sinclair's vision for his students to get that kind of education.
This particular challenge, the task is to move canisters from one platform to another platform with a defined footprint of where the device that they build needs to sit. And they need to do that with a limited set of materials and in a limited amount of time.
All right. Can you give me the second page on the top? 18 inches. Go. Got it. Ah. It's too. So we can go down on the canister. So we're going to do those like that.
You guys want to drill it closer?
Linda, more turn off.
Ábrelo un poquitito cuando estoy acá arriba.
The competition lasts 2 minutes. When the competition is completely over, give us about 5 to 10 minutes and we'll have a final score.
Okay, keep trying. Michael, more para.
Grab it. Okay. Slowly. Careful. Okay.
Just smash it. Smash it real quick.
Okay, in. Oh, okay, no, up. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Up.
Go, Jade.
Keep going.
Oh.
Lift it.
a learning experience, and like this is our first year here, and I'm surprised that we did well.
I learned how to get things to actually move and how to function, and now I know how to think and how to analyze a problem.
And the winner? Well, there were 4 out of the 15 teams who earned trophies at the Fluid Power Challenge. But the winner in all these programs were the participants and the communities in which they live. They won't all be engineers or scientists, but they will benefit from their participation in these programs by learning how to be problem solvers, keen communicators, and leaders of tomorrow. In the end, it's a blueprint for tomorrow's education.